Denver. You guys know that I'm a San Diego Padre fan, originally from San Diego. Jurickson Profar signed with the Atlanta Braves yesterday. He signed a 3-year deal, $42 million, which I'm going to tell you right now, the Padres were going to pay nothing close to that. Do you know what Jurickson Profar made last year? By the way, a lot of people know Profar because if you're a Dodger fan, him and Will Smith had a little bit of a run-in, but Profar was an all-star last year, so give that man a lot of credit. By the way, he was an all-star, made $1 million with the Padres last year, so he had such a good season that he got paid out. Atlanta went and paid him. But a lot of people, if you're a Dodger fan, you know him because his kind of his back and forth with Will Smith. You know him because in the playoffs, robbed Mookie Betts of a home run and chirped with the fans a little bit. It led to some other stuff. We all know what happened after that. So that's how people know him. Profar was kind of one of those players that heart and soul, probably not, maybe that's a little bit too aggressive, but was an important player for the Padres last year. What the hell happened to the San Diego Padres this offseason? Man, I'm going to tell you guys something. And, we've had this conversation before about how important ownership is. The reason why the Padres all of a sudden over the last 5 years were in the mix, were super aggressive. We're trading for guys like Juan Soto. We're trading for players like Tanner Scott, Dylan Cease, Michael King, Luis Ariz. They went out there and made a lot of moves over these last couple of years, and they made the playoffs 3 of the last 5 years, and they faced the Dodgers every single one of those years, and we're very, very competitive. Ownership is everything, guys. I mean, you guys look at sports, and I know a lot of Dodger fans talk about this a lot when they talk about Frank McCourt and what that era was to what then you got the Guggenheim Group, what that era is today. Go look at sports. The Washington Commanders got a playoff game on Sunday. I think they're the noon game. I think they're the earlier game. They have a playoff game that if they win that game, they're going to be in the Super Bowl. Ownership changed 2 years ago. Was it Daniel Snyder? I think that was his first name. Was ownership for Washington for years. And for 19 years, they didn't win a playoff game. Ownership is everything. Here's where the Padres are, unfortunately. Their owner passes away, was battling with cancer for years, Peter Seidler. And here's what's happened, really since he passed away. A tremendous season last year. The Padres were still kind of in full rhythm of saying, okay, let's go out there, let's make moves, let's make deals. Traded, obviously, Juan Soto to go get kind of a haul back that helped them last year make it to the playoffs and go 5 games against the Dodgers. But now all of a sudden that payroll is starting to come back. Now all of a sudden that money that was being thrown out there, those bad contracts are really starting to show. They've done nothing in the offseason. Nothing. And what's complicating everything as well, Sheil Seidler, which is Peter Seidler's, the widow of Peter Seidler. So obviously his wife has sued Peter Seidler's brothers in order to basically take control of the team. The team is in complete disarray right now. You don't know who ownership is. There was an article that came out. Why did Roki Sasaki sign with the Dodgers? I'm sure there were a number of reasons why he chose the Dodgers. One of the quotes that he said from Roki Sasaki, I think the number one thing that stood out was the stability of the front office. Does that not say everything right there about the direction that the San Diego Padres are going in and the direction of the Los Angeles Dodgers? I've told you guys this before, and I genuinely believe it. I think what the Padres and the Dodgers kind of had going over these last couple of years, that's good for baseball. It's good for Southern California. I think one of the idiotic things that Dean Spanos did, the owner of the Chargers, was moving up to L.A. I think you want San Diego versus L.A. I think you want, hypothetically, if the Chargers were still in San Diego, they have their own stadium. You want that competition between the two markets. It's good. It's 2 hours away. It's one of the things, I went to the East Coast during the summer, and I went there because I wanted to go to a Padres-Phillies game, and I had a buddy of mine that's out in the Maryland area, Baltimore area, that I wanted to go visit. And you know what's so cool about that area? Within a couple of hours, you got the New York teams, the Boston teams, the Philly teams, the Baltimore teams, and the Washington, the DC teams, all within a few hours together. And they all kind of have their own little, rivalries amongst each other because of that. That's good for business. I thought for baseball, when they would show those promos, Padres, Dodgers, SD, LA, all that stuff, I was like, this is as good of a rivalry as we're seeing of any of these other baseball teams that are out there. Um, Very, very, very disappointing offseason. Listen, Jurickson Profar, if you can go get paid 3 years, $42 million, go do it. Tanner Scott, the Padres weren't going to go pay $72 million like the Dodgers did. And now AJ Preller, who's the president of baseball operations for the Padres, he's going to go have to work some kind of magic, but you can only work so much magic. If depending on the resources that you have, there's only so much that you can do. But that quote, the Roki quote, that it really just came down to the stability of the front office. I thought about this once Roki signed with the Dodgers. I'm like, even if you're Shiel Seidler and you're about to go sue and try to take control of the team, could you not have waited until the offseason was over? Could you not have waited until Roki Sasaki made a decision? Maybe it wouldn't have changed it, but you think it helped it? You're dealing with a franchise in the Dodgers that they got their I's dotted. They got their T's crossed. They got everything is in order. They got all the money that you could think of. They got their TV deal in order as well. So they're making billions off of that. They got a Guggenheim group that's got endless amount of money. You got Andrew Friedman, that's probably the best president of baseball operations. You got the LA market. You got Shohei Ohtani. You got now an influx of new money that's coming in because of what you're doing with the Japanese market, the Asian markets. They got everything. How do you compete with that when I'll tell you how you compete with that. You make sure your shit's in order. I mean, you can always compete. This isn't even when I look at baseball, I look at teams like the St. Louis Cardinals, the Atlanta Braves. You could be in smaller markets and compete every single year. There's no question you can compete. I mean, I think what the Dodgers are doing right now, I don't know if we've ever seen anything like this before, how they're doing it, the deferrals, what Shohei has brought to the table, all that stuff. It's a different gorilla now that you're competing with, a different beast that you're dealing with, but you can compete. That I believe in any market, anytime that you can compete. What you can't have happen is you got ownership issues, you got front office issues, you got bad contracts. You can't compete with that. So if your stuff's not together, how the hell are you going to compete with already? I think the Padres are the third best team in the NL West now. I think it's Dodgers, Arizona, and then it's probably the Padres and the Giants. Padres probably better than the Giants because they still got some pitching. We'll see what they end up doing with everybody else. But what a shitty offseason. Just a shitty offseason. All right, let's take a look at a couple of the comments here. All right, let's see what we got here. Padres have done tons in the offseason. None of it is good. That part's true. Tatis hasn't been, the problem with Tatis, he's just not healthy enough. He's not healthy for 162. That's his problem. Just not healthy enough. Sleep. Yeah, okay, here's a perfect example. Richard, thank you for chiming in here. Ownership's everything, guys. Everything. Artie Moreno, think that guy knows what the hell he's doing in Anaheim? Go bring any new ownership in there. It changes. Ownership is everything. All right, that's another one here. No crap talk for now. Padres did what teams should be doing. They saw a window of possibility, and they went for it. One of the things that I saw out there, and guys, just to give everyone an idea, obviously this channel, very Laker-centric, very NBA-centric. But I do want the show to be 12 months out of the year. And in order to do so, there's going to be other topics that I'm going to get into that, hopefully you guys have interest in. So just a heads up on that. I got to be weaving in other stuff. Obviously, I'll still give you guys a ton of Laker stuff as well. But hopefully we can have good baseball conversations, good basketball conversations, and everything else, especially or NFL conversations as the season goes along. They saw a window of possibility and they went for it. I was talking to Doug McCain of DMAC of Dodgers Nation. I remember one time we were talking. He's like, Al, you know what I respect about AJ Preller and the Padres is They didn't look at the Dodgers and say, we got no shot against them. This is their window. Let's just get the hell out of the way. They just said, screw it. We're just going to go for it right now. That part I do agree with, but it's the trajectory of where they're going that's the problem. Let's see what we got here. Padres push all their chips in the center of the table in order to win and failed. Now they pay for it. I don't mind pushing all your chips in the table. The problem is where they're sitting today, there's disarray. Let me tell you this. If the Padres pushed all their chips to the center of the table, and then in the offseason, they just, the front office was still like, okay, guys, look, Dodgers won last year. Give them credit. Our bats went cold. What did we do wrong last year? Let's build from it. And let's just go back out there and try it again. The problem is the team's not going to look the same. Obviously, the Dodgers there's nothing you could do about what the Dodgers are doing. There really, truly isn't. What they're doing is what they're doing. The only thing that you can hope for, maybe, this would be one concern for the Dodgers. Maybe there isn't chemistry, right? Maybe just because you put together an all-star MVP team, maybe it doesn't just all click together. You just don't know, right? Things on paper look one way. What happens when the season starts? Competing against the Dodgers, trying to beat the Dodgers at their own game, that ain't happening. You just gotta you gotta worry about yourself. That's the best way to do it. You got to worry about yourself. You got to worry about what can we do internally to be the absolute best we can. And the Padres right now, there's questions, think about all the questions that are associated with them. All right, if you enjoyed this clip and you want more, just subscribe to the channel. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. is the Sliwa Show. And then after every Lakers game, post-game show right here.